to be the man, you gotta beat the man right here.
Is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
Nobody is on my level. Everything I touch turns to gold.
Believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
I understand that some of you might look at the title of tonight's program and really feel like it's very cryptic in its sense. And you can feel that way, but I'm going to explain it. The second part, the WWE Midcard Kumbaya Makeover. I'll explain that. Look, very briefly before I get to it, I'll just tell you that I have this thing about how Triple H would have original ideas or concepts or gimmicks for some of the stars he has on the main roster now. As CC's taken the roster back, he's taking back creative on the main roster. Now that he has that pen, like he has the pencil, he can do it. He decided to go and take some creative leverage and creative license, that's the word, to go ahead and revert some of the names back to what he had in NXT. So Doudrop to Piper Niven. Taking Becky Lynch's style, which was this new kind of, crazy off the wall, stylish, overly fashionable, off-fashionable character, to the original man character. Carmella, from the most beautiful woman in all of the WWE, now she's back to her old Staten Island gimmick. The Queen of Staten Island. We're back to that again. This is the Kumbaya. The idea is we're going to make sure everybody's happy, in harmony. Kumbaya, WWE, Kumbaya. That's what's going on right now. Vince McMahon, to the credit, he might have gimmicks that might have not gone well, and it might have been shitty, but it was something where at least you knew what the gimmicks were. So the other ones, yeah, it's the idea of we're going to make the gimmicks more to the stylings of what the stars are, the wrestlers are. But is it going to work? Are these people going to get over as a result? Now, some of them, the existing stars, yes. But really, Bayley being paired with Damage Control, bringing them up, has that made much of a difference? Seeing Doudrop to Piper Niven, is that going to make a difference? Nikki Cross going back to the old Sanity character, is that going to make a difference? These kind of things. And there's your mid-carders. That this is important. These are within the shows leading up to WrestleMania. The main event cards, which have been running really good right now on all cylinders, what's happening is we're going to still have to deal with the fact that there are the filler, the stopgaps in between all these shows that are 2 and 3 hours long that have to make up a show to watch on TV to keep people. You remember, you have to fuel all these major moments, like for every moment where Sami Zayn attacks Roman Reigns in the ring, for every moment we see Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman put together a fire promo of promoters to promote and start off the championship angle for WrestleMania. In between all these different things, we have to have these mid-card stuff. We have to have the mid-card stuff. Is it going to get over? And that's part of it. So there's that part I got to bring up. And then I say, there are people talking about it. And there's one guy, of course, that I always pull sometimes around when he kind of starts talking. I can't help but agree with him, because it's just sometimes Vince Russo just gives me certain things that he talks about that he's not wrong about. That's what I'm saying. I do need to go and start first with what happened with the Cody Rhodes Paul Heyman gimmick. That angle to start off was magical, because there's been a lot to talk about this so far. And I want to go and leave that in here and talk about it. People, the wrestling dirt sheets really went off and talked about it. Let's bring that up. Cage side seats. We'll take that real quick to go and talk about, because they made a lot of points to be made. referring to the much and deservedly praised segment that was largely focused on Dusty Rhodes, who was also a mentor and at one point an employee of Paul Heyman's. Because even that story that they told, true story, we have to say this. The stars that Paul Heyman mentioned word by word, person by person, they're all bona fide stars. All of them. Every one. That's a fact. All the stars we enjoy right now of the current generation, yeah, Dusty Rhodes is responsible. Let's all make sure to know that. Okay? And then the other thing I got to talk about later on is the Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, the split of Toxic Attraction on NXT, because it's not so much the breakup, except for the fact that JC Jane hard weighed with her foot into Gigi Dolan's face. Like, that was a hard hit, real bruise. It looked like it hurt. JC Jane, she might have miscalculated the momentum that her foot was going to hit her face. But we'll talk about that later. And then I got to talk about NXT, Judgment Day, and some other things within AEW and Impact Wrestling and New Japan, all that stuff. We'll talk about that later on. So let's get back into this. Some of the best promos are layered in history. Case in point. So now, going back to 2015, Cage Side cites the Stone Cold podcast and have Paul Heyman gave credit to Dusty Rhodes for unlocking his vaunted promo skills. We need more people like Dusty Rhodes. And, you know, when you think about it, it's true. Look at all the stars that have been made with great promo skills, which makes the part of a star. This is the thing where in NXT, when you had a Dusty Rhodes back there that could really cut promos and really teach, the stars coming up from the free agents that have been brought in, right? The veteran free agents that were brought in here from other independent talent and brought onto this main roster, not the same. It's not the same. So here's what Paul Heyman said back then. That goes back to a lesson I learned from Dusty Rhodes. When I was first in WCW, my very first Starrcade, I was just starting. Then there's Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, there's Sting, there's Kevin Sullivan, and there's the Road Warriors. I mean, man, you just talk about a lineup full of guys that could really cut promos. And then there's Jim Cornette. And I was opposed to Jim Cornette. Cornette had his promo somewhere in the middle of the show, and I thought I was going to have the segment Dusty, and so Dusty switched it. I didn't follow Cornette. Dusty said, "You're going to close the show, baby." It was just wing it. I had about 4 minutes. I did everything. I imitated everybody on the roster, talked about everybody else's match, heard about everything other. I ran around the podium. I did everything I possibly could, except speaking in tongues to garner attention so you wouldn't dare click that dial. And I ended it with some ridiculous punchlines so people would know, oh, that was very cute what you said. I came in the back and I thought, man, I'm a star. I'm Paulie Dangerously. I'm the greatest promo of all time. And Dusty looked at me and said, "Thank you, kid. That was so very, very entertaining. But I have a question for you is, where's the money?" I never sold Starrcade. It's a great story. So now, Heyman and Cody remembered to sell WrestleMania last time, which they did, because it's Cody and Roman Reigns, that was the point. They told most of the story of Raw, but in case you're wondering what a down on the suck American Dream did for Paul and ECW back in 2000, Dusty Rhodes confronted Steve Corino, who was the then ECW World Heavyweight Champion, at guilty as charged. Huh. And I missed this. I don't know if I caught this. No, I never caught this. Because by 99, I didn't get to catch the shows. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't catch the oh no, this was the ECW TNM. I did see this. Never mind. I had to go back and watch the clip. Thank you, Cage Side Seats, for putting the YouTube clip up, because I forgot about it. That's 20 years. 23 years we're talking about now. Well, 22 and a half. But still. (2010), Dream's doing a job not dissimilar to what Corino's doing now, and Dusty's work with Roman Reigns in developmental gave him a cute line to end his promo to Cody on Raw. In my last conversation with your dad, he told me you, Cody, were his favorite son. But Roman Reigns was always the son he always wanted. Damn, that was good. Well, honestly, they both back and forth were fantastic. The American Nightmare brought it back to the money, doubling down on his vow to take Reigns' titles in SoFi Stadium at WrestleMania and the issues personal. And Paul's line said about to do that based on the interview Roman gave ESPN before WrestleMania 38 last year. Dusty did see the money in young Roman. And here's what Roman Reigns said. This is a $1 billion industry. When I was making $500 a week down at FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, I cut a promo for Dusty Rhodes. I don't remember all of it, but I pretty much said, I'm a walking $1 billion check. And everybody looked at me and like, what the hell? This guy's crazy. What's he talking about? He's a $1 billion check. Dream knew exactly. Everybody else at the time, they were my peers. They had no clue what was happening. Now they're beneath me. Dream at the time, a Hall of Famer, a bona fide draw, someone who drove the business forward. He understood what I was talking about. And what, 10, 11 years later, look what's happening here. So when it comes to be a Hall of Famer, being a legend in this game, my work speaks for itself. Okay? And so you look at what they did with all that was happening, the names that were mentioned, okay? He mentioned Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, Bayley. Let's think of the other ones. I mean, there's still a handful of names that could be brought up that he is responsible for, that he brought on board and made great work with. I would imagine Saraya would be also part of that conversation. I would imagine there's others, if I had to think about it. Not everybody, because there's only so many people you work with and somebody that you can get really off the board and get them to do good promos, but they did. And they did a damn good job. That last night was really good. And there's some more those being talked about. Cody discussed the WrestleMania bout, wishing Sami Zayn well in his quest for championship gold. By the way, we didn't even talk about the fact that Sami Zayn, at a tremendous promo by Roman Reigns, they're just knocking out of the park. It's just gold. So the attack by on Roman Reigns at the end of the night, Sami Zayn vowing to take the titles off of Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns comes back on him after beating him down, after the bloodline comes in to help him out, and Sami Zayn gets pummeled, and Roman Reigns says, okay, I want you in Elimination Chamber. You're going to face for the title. And that's it. I mean, they really just sold that match quick. I mean, you had to give Sami Zayn something. You had to get him somewhere in there in that title shot. They did. Great stuff. Did a fantastic job. Now, Cody Rhodes makes the point about he recalls his family falling on hard times. Paul Heyman putting a call to Dusty Rhodes to appear in ECW, paying him handsomely as a result. And Rhodes thanking Heyman for being a man of his world and a man of his word in his regard. And there you go. And remember, it was that. Before Dusty Rhodes went to TNA, I spent some time there. He was in ECW for a short stint. And it was something where, at that point, I mean, there was so many people in 2000 that had left ECW. That was the whole point. Steve Corino being now champion? I mean, he was down the pecking order behind when you see Shane Douglas or Taz or Sabu or it was a lot of other stars that were in that right there. Mike Awesome. You lost a lot of stars right there that were former champions. And so to come in here and say, okay, I need some talent. And so he went to Dusty Rhodes. I was like, hey, here's a great segment. I need somebody to go and go up against my world champion. Dusty Rhodes is available. Let's bring him down. Let's get him to the Hammerstone Ballroom. Let's get him to, guilty as charged. Yeah. Got the pay-per-view going. And that was another time where also to keep TNN, to keep that TV deal, because, they weren't going to hold on for long. That time was short on the ECW and TNN. It's just too bad that by the time the show got on the TNN, man, it wasn't exactly the same thing. The pay-per-views were great, but the TV show was like, it wasn't like the night, it wasn't the old 2 a.m. show, because then they switched to hardcore TV. It wasn't like, it was okay, fine. I wasn't necessarily happy about it. So that all works out there. There was one story I saw come out about Cody Rhodes' sister saying that the segment was crossing over the line. And so Cody's real-life sister, Teal Rhodes, reacted to the heated promo on Twitter. She believes Paul Heyman crossed the line during the segment, but made sure to deliver excellent TV content. Excellent TV, but he crossed the line. It's all gimmick, whatever. That's the whole idea. So there's a lot that's going on. The setup pitch perfect to get things going. When you can't get Roman Reigns right now to enter into the crosshairs with Cody Rhodes yet, you can't do it. You have to tell the Sami Zayn story first. Smart. And you don't know what's going to happen. And even Cody Rhodes having to make the point that Sami Zayn might be champion by the time WrestleMania rolls around, and he might be taking Cody Rhodes on. It's a good problem to have. And it's a good way to make both shows really relevant. And Paul Heyman coming over representing Roman Reigns, perfect. Where do you go from here? Hey, always talk about WWE can always do a WrestleMania angle, started off hot, ended hot. What do you do in the middle? This is where Triple H is put to the test. What can he do now to make that work? I want to figure that out. I want to see that. It looks good. So you know that match is all set up. Rhea Ripley has not been in the picture yet. That's probably Friday on SmackDown. We'll see what they're going to do there, because we need Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair to confront. Kind of odd to not see Judgment Day have Rhea Ripley out there, but yeah, I get it. We have to get to somewhere here. And then, as like I said, last week, the setup now, Elimination Chamber qualifying matches for both the U.S. title and for the Raw Women's title. They did that. They're working that out. That's good. No issues with that there. Because for WrestleMania, some of the matches, you need to create something that's very formidable for the reason to create feuds. You just can't have feuds just to have feuds. And that's the difference where Vince McMahon doesn't do that. This right here, utilizing some of the matches in your arsenal to bring up a feud or a match. These are the things that we didn't get last year. We would get championship contender matches. We would get feuds that would just be rehashed over and over. Yeah, it's all this stuff that was just very tiresome and tedious. It doesn't feel like that now. But we still get those kind of matches. But I know that right now I absolutely have to watch, and I mean, I'm still have the shows on. It's like it's second screen viewing for the most part, unless I see promos, unless I see things I need to go ahead and bring up on. And some of the mid-card stuff it's fine. It's not great. And I think that my point before, the Kumbaya stuff will not hold water. It's not going to hold up that long. I don't think it's that a good idea. The bottom line is that the TV product still needs certain things to be compelling enough to keep people around for the main event storylines that we're all looking at the top of every hour or every 30 minutes or whatever it might be. And the fact that the company still has to continue to rely on folks like Edge and Lita coming back to continue to just foster storylines to keep people interested in WrestleMania. The part-timers are going to still be a part of this, and the main event is going to keep some of these people out because they're not good enough. At what point do people just realize, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, they're not going for world titles. Not in this company. Not anytime soon. Dexter Lumis? No. Karrion Kross? I don't know anymore. I don't know what to think of him. And that's where we are. It's like, okay, well, then what's left? I mean, there are certain stars that were already kind of being pushed and, getting up to a certain level. Gunther and Austin Theory, absolutely. And you can rely with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. You can go with that. Of course, you're going to have matches with them. I think it's going to be fine. But everything else, it's like, okay, let's get the Hurt Business back together without Bobby, right? What are we going to do? At Almost now with MVP and Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander? Is that what we're going to go with? Is that the new Hurt Business? Is that what we're going to do? And then, what are we going to see else about, will the tag team situation get any better? Like, the prestige of certain belts. Have we seen the women's tag team titles being defended at all? Does anybody have those belts right now? Who holds those belts? Actually, I don't even know who it is. I'm trying to think about who is the women's tag team. Oh, Damage Control. Oh, I almost forgot about that. It's a non-factor with them. It's a non-factor. Have they even defended the titles? I can't remember if they have. So, yeah, okay, there's that. But really, insignificant. Those belts mean nothing, right? So anyways, we see the stars that have been changed over, and I'm not necessarily amazed with who we've had brought back so far, and saying, okay, we're at a point where, okay, we're getting some changes over here, right? I don't see anything where if we change the roster now and look at them, some of the changes they've made, they're not necessarily in it for me, right? Look at the current list right now. And I'm just looking on Raw, for example. If I go down a list, we've seen changes where Baron Corbin, they tried to use the wrestling god gimmick. It's failed. I don't know what they're doing now because obviously it hasn't gone over. Becky Lynch is back the way she is. Bronson Reed is more or less what he was and no changes. Carmella is now the original character, Queen of Staten Island. You look at Dexter Lumis, he's what he is, and they didn't really make much changes with him in the first place. They've done good changes with Dominic Mysterio, but they were already going with Dominic Mysterio well before and making changes with him. I'm looking at a list. Now we have Masay and Mansois, which is already a Vince-created creation that's coming now into Raw. Let's look at the other names. Nikki Cross is now the Sanity character again. Piper Niven is now formerly Drew Drow, and then Rick Boogs is still here. And Rick Boogs is just like his regular character. There's none of the Shinsuke Nakamura guitar kind of thing. That's all gone too. They took it away. When Tommaso Ciampa comes back, will he just be the same? Right? These are the things we have to think about. It's this part. So there's that, and let's look at SmackDown. On the SmackDown side, you change Shotzi back to getting the tank. They were trying to do something else with her, and it didn't work. Butch, he's not even wearing the hat anymore. Now he's just back to Pete Dunne, but they never changed his name back to Pete Dunne. So he's still Brawling Bruce, but he's no longer wearing the hat. He's no longer wearing, these suspenders and the wife beater. He's not doing any of that anymore. So they basically just downgraded all that just to make Butch be the same guy, but they haven't changed his name. And if I look at anybody else here, Karrion Kross, he has his gimmick. It's not gotten over. LA Knight turning into more of his Eli Drake character than anything else because he didn't want to keep doing what he was doing before. Liv Morgan now is no longer glamorous. Now she's more of this other character they're putting for her. And then what else do we got? Can't say much about Raquel Rodriguez. She's about the same as she was. And then Shayna Baszler has completely turned back into the Queen of Spades. She's back into the MMA character again, along with Ronda Rousey. And that's it. That's that Xia Li still what she is. I guess that's what they've done. Pretty much it. And I'm saying to myself, well, okay. Mad Cat Moss was the character that he had with Baron Corbin. Now he's just Bad Cat Moss. He's just this kind of just, create a wrestler kind of character. It's the Kumbaya. It's the, and Lacey Evans. They switched the character they had of her as the sassy Southern Belle. Now she's the soldier. Going to where she probably wanted. Because remember, all these characters that got changed and reworked, retconned, I call it. It's a good word for it, retcon. They're all back to what they want to be. The character that feels better for them, which might work, but the thing is, have any of them gone over? Have any of them gotten over yet? Well, we're at WrestleMania time. I can tell you, some of these stars, they're not making it. I mean, they're not going to make it on those 2 nights. And if you're not good enough to make it on 2 nights of shows on that largest stage, then what are you doing there? You're not near the titles. You're not in a major feud. You're not doing anything extra special, like, Hit Row, Legado del Fantasma, right? Have they done anything at all? No, nothing. They're just sitting there. I don't know if they have nothing for them or just not booking them well, but there's nothing to them right now. At all. These are the things I worry about. This is that Kumbaya thing. That's all I got to say about that. It is annoying to see where they're going and there's nothing happening as a result. That's what I'm saying. Now, I want to get to a few of the stories before we wrap things up. Well, actually, I need to go to the Vince Russo stuff. I haven't done that yet. Let me do that now. Let's talk about the real-life relationship with superstars that's blinding him, according to Vince Russo. And this is what he's saying about it all together. And I appreciate Shruti Sadbahav and Sportskeeda for putting out the transcript here. And Vince Russo was on the latest edition of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw, sharing his thoughts. He believes that Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Road Dogg will fall in love with the talent at NXT, citing examples of Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Bayley, and Dakota Kai. He further argued that this bond pushes WWE higher-ups to book these talents similarly on the main roster, where they struggle to get over with fans. And he explains the problem. He says this. Of course, I will be doing the Vince Russo impression, and I need to just take a quick swig of water to do that, so I'm going to take that in just right now for just a quick second. So here's what Vince Russo said on the show, and this is what he makes the point. I am going to tell you what the problem is in a nutshell, and this has led into bigger problems. Bro, you can back me up because we have had Road Dogg on the show, and he said something one week. Here's the problem. All these wrestlers that come up with NXT, two things happen, bro. Shawn Michaels, whoever is down there, and Triple H fall in love with these people. They fall in love with the Garganos. They fall in love with Candice LeRae. They fall in love with Bayley. And they fall in love with these people. Then, bro, there is this ego part of it where I trade this person for 5 years, and now we're going to put this person on the main stage. And this is the point exactly. How much time do you actually put in before the person doesn't pan out and you just let them go? Because that's the part that's happening too. There's a Triple H almost with a chip on his shoulder to say, these people are good. I've trained them for all these years. I'm going to make them work. And then there's this whole push-pull, passive-aggressive, we got to make this work. It's got to happen. We're just going to throw everything at them. We're going to give them what these wrestlers want to be able to make it work. But if they just don't work, they just don't work. And then Vince Russo will further explain the trainer should identify if their talent can make it big without letting their personal relationship dictate the call. Right. Who are the ones that you could designate are going to be stars? And this is what he said. You should be training somebody in 3 months, and in 3 months know, you know what, I love this person, and they may have a great attitude. They may show up on time. They are a great worker. But in a grand scheme of things, they may never get over the crowd. Bro, Road Dogg told us about Dakota Kai. He was on the show and he said, oh, Vince, she's a hell of a worker. They are with these kids every single day. They're almost like proud parents. Then they put them out there, and these people are never going to get over it. And you should be able to make that call in 3 months, bro. He's not wrong. Those 2 points are very solid. So number one, going back to what he said originally, that there's this disconnect where Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, they're all going to feel like there's the people their loyalty stands beside them. But their loyalty is not going to sell tickets. It's not going to draw money. That's the problem here. And then the other part is to define which stars are going to be the ones that will be stars up front and work on those. And those are the ones that get priority, right? Yeah, you can be proud of all of them, but you still have to worry about what WWE needs. This is a really multi-billion dollar company, publicly traded. Look at all the money they're making. Okay, their earnings calls keep going through the roof. Who are you going to have in the future that's going to take the place, that's going to warrant a possible sale? That's going to warrant. Remember, it's the collateral. It's the assets. That's not a nice way to call the town, but they are assets. Okay, they are valued towards the brand, towards the company, for the future. And if Johnny Gargano is not drawing a dime, if Candice LeRae cannot draw a dime, then there's something wrong. And that's the problem here. So, Triple H, Vince Russo makes excellent points. Voice of reason. That's just what it is. It's going to stay like that. Okay, let's move on to Gigi Dolan, because that shit was wild. And so the ding dong hello segment with Bayley over on NXT last night, and Gigi Dolan is kicked dead in the face. Wow. And Bayley was trying to play peacekeeper between two ladies, but GCG had their plans. And that, according to GCG and fans on Twitter claimed that the kick was personal. And a lot of people said that JC put some force into that boot. And we keep looking, and I'm like, wow. This is almost as bad as like when Nia Jax, hard weighed Becky Lynch in the face. Remember broken nose? Remember that? This was bad. This was really like hardcore with it. And then Dolan wrote on Twitter a message after the fact, trauma is the ultimate killer. So, yeah, you know what? You are going to build a good feud now. Dolan and Jane can start facing each other. This hard way hit definitely does that. So, NXT needs to go and run with this, and Gigi Dolan ultimately should be the one that goes over as the face, which is what they've already defined right now. JCJ was the one that caused it. That's what they do. Good. Excellent. Smart. Okay, so let's go ahead and move along now, and let's go into what's going on with the rest of the wrestling world. Well, actually, there's one more thing. Alexa Bliss taking time off of the WWE television. She's going through a lot of stuff. She had an animal that died, and there was some other things that just have always constantly kind of kept her mental health has always been very important. Obviously, the priority, but you can just say there's something about her having to take personal time, and she's been having to do that. And it's okay. Listen, no problem with that. But it has happened, and now we're having it again. Now, it's already noted that going into the Royal Rumble, she was going to take time off, so this was already in the works for at least days, if not weeks. And there were teases that WWE was going to align Bliss back with Uncle Howie and Bray Wyatt, but she's not advertised for Elimination Chamber, so maybe they're not going to do anything with her at all. Not right now. That's it. So there's that part. There was a lot of backlash of flack and canceled. Everybody was getting all upset and in a huff. Oh well, no surprise there, right? So there we go. It's the same bullshit over again. Everybody's going to just like, people can have their lives, okay? Personal lives and, what they do on TV. Let's separate them, huh? Something like that, please. It's a lot, man. It's a lot they're going to take in. A few more quick headlines I want to bring into. So, AEW and Tony Khan feels like there's going to be a very lucrative deal coming up when the rights come up. He was on the Uprock Sports, a podcast with Uprock Sports, and he says, I expect big increases in the rights for AEW programs. We're on a good pace to make a very lucrative deal with the media rights going forward. And then he talked about a potential streaming deal for the promotion. He says that they've done so far 174 Dynamite episodes, 80 of Rampage, 16 pay-per-view events. There is an interest in the AEW library as well as the new weekly content they put out. So it makes sense to make the AEW library available to all fans all around the world, but he feels good about a lucrative deal for the media rights coming up. That's the plan. That's what he hopes for right now. Real quickly, MLW Underground. MLW now has a show on TV on the Reels channel. 0.03 rating for the 18 to 49. 79,000 viewers for this showing, and it was on last night. And it was up against a number of things, as a matter of fact. Let me go and look what they said was the competition. So, first of all, you had LeBron James breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's NBA scoring record. And the State of the Union was last night. And with all that, Lucha Underground pulled 79,000 viewers. That's good. Maybe we'll see if they can pull 100,000 viewers and start pulling the level of Impact Wrestling on a different channel. I don't even know how much Reels TV gets out there. I know it's on my cable, but I never watch it. What is the percentage of households, huh? Gotta just kind of check it. Percentage of households, hold on. Yeah, give me that answer real quick. 60, this is February There we go. So 68.2 million paid TV households. Here's the actual answer I have. Okay. More than 30 million homes and growing via major streaming platforms, Amazon channels, Fire TV, Roku, Pluto TV. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's in a lot of places. It's not just on regular TV. So that's good. I did not know. So anyway, there's that. And then one other story I got to bring up real quick, because I got to bring up, and then we're going to talk about some of the events that are coming up right now pretty soon. Was tonight, I must go ahead and commend MJF on his work tonight as a heel, because he is hitting out of the park. I mean, seriously, put some real crap going on today when it comes to what he put out in his match with, he put the match he had tonight with, what was it? Yeah, the match he had with Konosuke Takeshita tonight. The shit he did out there with Bryan Danielson after his match. Okay. And the El Paso, honestly, the El Paso, Texas crowd, they're going after him. They're talking him down, and he says, no hablo español. Like, seriously, super heel tonight. It was just good. Excellent heel work. He is just doubling down on the fact that he wants to be the biggest heel there is on the roster. And they're wrestling for that matter. Just like that. He's doing the work. He's putting in the work. So great stuff. So NWA, I have not been watching Power. I've been behind on it. And I think it's because of the fact that some of the shows they were doing, they did a live Power. I missed that. And then some of the other shows was the Champion Series. And I kind of just like, okay, draw me to a pay-per-view. Give me something that goes towards a pay-per-view. That's what I wanted to watch. So they have an event called Nuff Said that's in Tampa, February 11th. So that's coming this weekend, this Friday. And they have full matches on the card. A lot of championships on the line. So right off the bat, you have Trevor Murdoch versus Chris Adonis. I'll take Trevor Murdoch. Kevin Kiley versus EC3. I'll take EC3. Women's tag team titles on the line. Pretty Empowered. LMV Kenzie Paige versus the Renegade Twins. And I'll take Pretty Empowered, because Renegade Twins are just coming in for the show, I guess. And then La Rebelion, Bestia 666, Mecha Wolf defending the World Tag Team titles against Blood Force Trauma, a team of Damage and Carnage, accompanied by their manager, Aaron Stevens. I'll take La Rebellion for the win. The Junior Heavyweight title, Kerry Morton versus Alex Taylor. I will take Kerry Morton. And Danny Dealz on Alex Taylor, with Alex Taylor at ringside. Kamille over Angelina Love, I think, for the women's world title. Always good to see Kamille back out there, but there's not much else they have in terms of stars they can have go up against her. Like, they need to figure something out there. Tyrus will take on Matt Cardona, defending the World's Heavyweight Championship. I'll take Matt Cardona to take the belt back. I think we will have a title change at that show. Enough said. This Friday, NWA. Let me see what I'm going to do in terms of doing a post show. Most likely. I don't know if it'll be Friday, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how I'm going to take care of that and do that. And so far, Elimination Chamber coming up in less than 2 weeks, February 18th. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. U.S. title, we already have the full card. Elimination Chamber. Austin Theory will defend against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. And a number one contendership match for the Raw Women's title. That match is set now. Asuka, Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Carmella. And then Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley, they set that match up on Raw versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. That's a good card coming up. We'll add a few more things, but that's a pretty good card they're shoring up with right now. Excellent. We'll leave it there. That's the show tonight. Thanks for listening in, finding it as you always do. Subscribing to the show wherever you find it. WrestlingIsReal.com is the website. And until, like I said, most likely do a show this weekend. I'll let you know. You'll catch it. In the meantime, remember to come back, enjoy NWA Nuff Said. Come back for another Wrestling podcast, because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. Find past episodes anytime at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or all major podcast distributors. Follow at King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.